everyone. Welcome back to the Completely Fucking Clueless podcast. We are so excited to be here with an amazing guest today, Megan Bowen. Megan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so excited to talk to you because I have been watching you on TikTok literally since I got a TikTok. And I just feel like us being theater girlies, you being a theater girly, like there's just a lot in common that's going on here.
Yeah, sometimes I forget. I've been on there since early 2021.
Yeah.
And that's 2 years of people like following my life, which is a little wild, but I'm happy to be here and I'm very excited to talk with you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
How does it feel to like have all those people watching your life all the time?
When I started my social media, I did not intend to be a content creator, influencer, whatever you want to call it, right? Yeah. But I mostly started for my business. Mm-hmm. I started my business, Dance From Home, March 30th of 2020. Mm-hmm. New York was in lockdown. Everywhere was shut down. And
especially New York.
I knew I needed to find clients. And the only way I was going to do that was to go on social media and be active.
100%.
So I kind of went into it being like, this is for my business. If I can talk about dance or workouts or whatever and get people like knowing what I do, hopefully I can convert them to being clients. And I started doing that. And then I just started having fun.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when I grew on there. But with growing on social media, as you know, you're open to being perceived.
100%.
And that got to me a little bit. And I took last year off. I think I was still pumping content, but I needed a second to just reevaluate that. What people think of me is none of my business. So now I'm feeling great. If you would have asked me 6 months ago what I thought about being on social media was like, I would have been like, it's the worst thing ever. Don't do it. And now I'm in such a better place. So I'm starting to love it again.
Yeah.
But it is an up and down journey. I don't, what I recommend, I don't know. I don't know, but
it's so interesting. I feel like that is something that I've gone through with theater and where I'm at with that right now. It's like all of my life, and we discuss this all the time on our podcast, where like, we grew up doing theater. It became like our sole identity. And now that we're, just like playing like playing different games, experimenting with life, you can kind of see it in a different lens.
Yeah.
To what it usually was for you.
Yeah. And majority of my content for a bit was all theater, dance, the industry. And then you can really pigeonhole yourself
100%
and niche into one category. And what I found, especially last year, was like, wait, you guys, there is so much more that I do. And now like trying to expand from that. It's a fun game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So kind of going back to like your younger self, like, where did you grow up and how did you get into theater and dance?
Yeah. I'm from Temecula, California, which for anyone that doesn't know is about an hour north of San Diego. Cool. So born and raised Southern California girl. I grew up as a competition dancer. So I was in the rhinestones and the hairspray and the whole thing. And I got into musical theater. I actually started doing singing lessons when I was in 5th grade.
Cool.
Got into musical theater with our local community theater. And I did a few musicals. I did Oliver. I did Alice in Wonderland, and I did Cabaret when I was 13, which is a very inappropriate age to be in that.
When I was 13, and I look back at that, I'm like, whoa.
I tell people, like, it was a different time. It was a different time. I know it's not okay, but, like, that was a part of my journey, and I fell in love when I did Cabaret.
Yeah.
I fell in love with theater, but I, got to high school, I had to make the choice with my parents, whether it was going to be dance team or if I'm going to do like the Glee Club. And I'm a little asshole. I was like, well, it feels cooler to be on the varsity dance team. So I did dance team.
Yeah.
It was really important for my family for me to go to college. My mom was first gen to go. So going to school has always been a big deal. So they said, you can do dance in college. You can do whatever you want, but you need to go to school. So graduated high school, knew I was going to go to college for dance. Hadn't touched theater after I left my middle school days, but went to college for dance, which was a whole journey we can get into if you want. But I thought in school I was going to be a concert dancer,
Okay.
like a jazz dancer, or with any sort of modern contemporary company. I was on that track. I wanted to do it. But with dance, there's so many body issues. And I was just told to just, keep being smaller. And even if you're not told, you see who's being hired. Yeah. So you need to like fit that mold of what that is. And I really struggled with that, but I just kept grinding at being better.
Yeah.
And it was my junior year. I was in the Greek system at my school, and we did this thing called Songfest, where sororities and fraternities were paired up, and you got given a musical. And it was a big competition. You had to take the musical, condense it down to 12 minutes, and compete it at the school. The musical we were given was Pippin. And try condensing Pippin down to 12 minutes.
Weird show to have to condense.
But in my sorority, I was the choreographer for the show.
Yeah.
And I just had so much fun with it. I put my whole heart into it. I was like, oh, yeah, you're a singer, girlfriend. Like, get back into that. We won the competition. I decided, wow, I should do theater again. So I got involved in the theater department. In my junior, senior year of college, they had this thing called the New York Satellite Program. This is at UC Irvine, where if you got into it, you would come to New York your senior year, be out here for 5 weeks, and just like train, mock auditions, meet casting directors. And I got into that, did that, decided New York and theater was for me, kind of transitioned what I wanted to do, graduated, and then 6 months later I moved out here. So that's kind of the journey
to getting here.
Of getting here.
I love it.
And dance and theater.
How was it going to school for dance? Because we got our BFAs in music theater, so I imagine there's a lot of differences there.
Yeah. I mean, I loved my college experience. It was fantastic. The training was intense. I was dancing anywhere from 4 to 8 hours a day.
Wow.
Rehearsals, classes, very demanding on the body.
Yeah.
And, I really liked balancing that with my social life. And my boyfriend always makes fun of me because he was like, there's no way you partied in college. But like, I was wild.
Are you kidding me? The performing arts kids are the wild ones.
I would show up to Modern 8 a.m. 3 days a week, like spinning, doing my like floor groundwork because I was out at parties the night before. But anyway, good times. The dance training there was great, and I really grew as an artist. I don't know. People always ask if they would recommend like going to college for dance, and I think everyone has such a different pathway. For me, it was great. Getting into school, not so great. But
I feel you.
I did have a good time. I learned a lot, and I wouldn't have had the technical background in my like actually the way I dance if I had not gone to school.
Yeah.
So
I feel like a lot of the performing arts, but especially because I went to an arts high school where I majored in theater, but a lot of my closest friends majored in dance. And I feel like the performing arts, but specifically dance, sort of require you to grow up really fast because there is a sort of set time limit put on you. And I watched that like pressure, especially with my friends who were in the dance major of like, you had an expiration date and you... There was a lot of them decided to go to college, but there was a lot of them decided not to because they didn't feel they could waste that time.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like you're so young at that point. Like there's so much necessary growth and development to like kind of be forced out of that and told that like you're going to expire at like fucking 28 is.
Oh my God. I look back and I think back I thought I was old. I was like 21.
Oh my God.
I was 21. Here I am 28 now. Just entering the best of like what I've ever been, what I've ever done, how I've ever moved. And I wish I could have told my college self or anyone that's just graduated or just getting into school to chill the fuck down because you have so much time. You will not get good. I swear. You will not get good until you start entering your late 20s. You have more life. You have more life behind you.
Yeah.
Art is life. Art reflects what you've gone through, and you're a better storyteller the older you get.
Yeah.
And until I realized that, I was like, whoa, my career, endless. Like,
I feel that because like I said, I've been taking this break from theater and, of course, I've been working on this my whole life. So my whole family is like freaking the fuck out. They're like, are you sure? Are you going to regret this? And I'm like, my life, I'm hopefully will live a long life. I have so many years to still fulfill that dream in me. right now that dream and I aren't like clicking, but I'm clicking with other things. And, you know, as I grow as a person, hopefully I can come back to this thing that I once loved, evolved, and able to see that like I'm enough exactly the way I am. And I don't need to change my body, my voice, whatever it is to like fit in the mold that people want me to be in. So I love hearing that because it makes me feel better about my decision.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going through that now. You're going to go through that no matter any age. There's going to be different seasons. And I mean, I did 3 auditions last year, all of 2022.
Yeah.
I didn't work. I don't think I worked a paying job last year. And even this season, the audition season is starting right now.
Oh.
And I'm not really in it.
Yeah.
And there is so much pressure we put on ourselves. And I do think schools put that pressure on you.
100%.
I just had a conversation with my friend Julia. Shout out Julia. Before this, we got coffee. And she was saying how the school mentality focuses on the track of like graduating college and being that 0.01% to make it right to Broadway.
Totally.
Baby, that's not realistic.
Even the agent stuff.
We had a teacher who literally, she was one of our teachers at Elon, and we all followed each other on like social media because there are no boundaries within theater professional performing whatevers. But regardless,
whole nother topic.
Yes, but she went and unfollowed most of us, and we noticed the only ones she stayed following were the ones who were like either already on Broadway or like on that gonna be in Broadway in the next 2-year track. And I was like, super transparent what you're doing.
Yeah,
cool.
That's fucked up.
Particularly, it was like I thought we were pretty close, but I guess fucking not.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, that's awful.
Okay.
Not shout out to you, Professor.
No.
Like. And that's what we're sold, right?
Yes,
that's what we're sold
100%.
is the story of the young success and the making it right away. And if you don't, then you're going to wait tables and your dream is like
or on the flip side,
door.
like I'm curious if you experienced this. We're both on the taller side and like my weight has fluctuated a lot. Yeah. And I was told like, you're going to do great when you're 40. And it's like, cool. So what am I supposed to do for the next 20 fucking years? Just fuck around?
Yeah. I mean, I've been told so many things in my career. And I think I'm at a place now where I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I don't care. Like, you want me to be skinny? Cool. You want me to be plus size? Cool. I'm just going to do exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
And however anyone wants to paint me in their picture of that, great. It has to be how I am at this moment.
Right.
And if not, I'm not going to work with you. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But this whole idea of looking a certain way or fitting a certain size to fit in a costume to do this, like I'm over it. I don't prescribe to it anymore.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I feel you. It was interesting because I feel like at school, I mean, I've been, you know, mid to plus size my entire life. So I, you know, knew it impacted things, but I don't think I realized until I left school how much it impacted things and how people really saw me and how small the window felt as far as like casting and stuff like that. But I agree with you. I was like, I'm not going to lose weight or change myself to fit in an industry. Like, I can't do that. Like, it's not going to work. So either I'm going to audition as me or I'm just going to figure out something else that I feel like I can be myself in.
Yeah. Well, that's why I love creating content.
Yeah. 100%.
It is just me, and take it or leave it. It's my show.
Yep.
And that's what I used to get, you know, people's opinions, especially when I first started making TikToks about like TikToker, like what is she doing? That looks so bad for your resume or your whatever and how you're showing up on the internet. And now those same people are like, how do you do it? How can I do it? How can I get millions of people to watch me a week? And I'm like, it's a different medium of making your own show. And I always tell young people, like, if you feel there is not a space for you, create. Stop looking at what there is not or the lack of space for you. Create your own shit.
Yeah.
And you will be fulfilled, and it will take you in directions that you probably didn't think you would go to because you were fed this narrative from college about how it's supposed to look like. It's going to take you different ways, But if you can create your own stuff, what you thought you needed to be or look like, it starts to leave your brain.
Yeah.
Because you're so focused on your creation.
I agree with that 100%. When family members or people ask me like why I've decided to pivot or pursue these things, I'm like, I don't have to ask an agent, a casting director to get on my own TikTok. Like I get to show up and perform. And I think it's interesting how people don't really realize how much creating content is performing and entertainment and all the skills that we use, like not obviously maybe how you would use them to prepare for like a TV show or movie, but you use them, and it's great that, there is this medium to have.
It's all storytelling.
Yeah.
All we do as actors, as professionals, we tell stories.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between you talking to your phone, telling a story, and you talking to an audience? It's all storytelling. It's what we're here to do.
And I feel like to some reason, I feel like to some extent, there's also like this thing of like fear of being cringy. And I feel like everything seems cringy until you succeed at it. Mm-hmm. And like, or even there was a girl who we went to college with, Audrey who got a lot of shit from people for caring about things outside. And like, I think there was definitely some level of judgment around like her putting content out until like now she's succeeding. And I think there's a lot of people like fucking banging on her door about it. And it's like, people are going to be really judgmental, but you'll never know if you'll succeed at something unless you give it a fucking try. And even if people are going to be real dicks along the way, like if it works out, those dicks are going to be regretting it. I hate that I used dicks so much there. I take that back. I didn't like that.
No, but you are correct. And people will judge you until they see it working. And then they will be asking for your help. And that's what I remind myself, like every single day or every time I doubt myself or I hear a nasty comment or know someone that I thought was a friend saying shit. Like I just remember that and if you're a good person and a kind person and putting stuff out there that you want to see or you want to watch or listen to, who fucking cares if it's cringy?
Yeah.
Everyone's cringy. Get over yourself. Like, what? Do you really know someone in real life that there's no level of cringe? Are we 12? Grow up. Like, everyone's cringy. So.
Literally. I know. I was giving a presentation the other day at my internship that I'm doing, and we were talking, they asked me to present like on TikTok and skills and strategies. And I was like, I had to accept that, like, I just have to be cringy. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I can't think about the random person from high school that may see this. Like, I just have to be myself because I want to give myself these opportunities. Yeah. And so if you want to succeed, you got to, just be cringy. It's okay.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And being cringy is just being yourself.
100%.
And, if you think you're cringy, your content's going to suck. So, don't let yourself think that. Just be you.
Yeah. I love that. And so, you gave us this journey of moving to New York. When you look back at yourself when you first moved here, what do you wish you would have known? What was it, and especially also another question, what was it like in the theater world pre-pandemic when you were here?
Yeah.
We saw a lot of people's close friends' stories of what it was like in the before times. And I'm curious to get your thoughts.
Yeah. Pre-pandemic. Okay. Well, let me hit the first one of what I wish I would have known. I wish then I moved here in 2016.
Okay.
I graduated college, 2016, moved here in October. And I wish I would have known that fitting in does nothing for you. Fitting in does not make you memorable. It dims your personality. It dims the way you perform. And trying to conform into a type, to be typecasted or to box yourself in, only limits you to that box.
Yeah.
And that's what I wish I would have done differently. I would have also told myself that, I'm not someone that comes from money. And so I've, paid all the bills when I first moved here. My ticket out here, my apartments, everything. And I would have told her that, it's okay to have to just work.
Yeah.
To make money and to live here. And no one's surpassing you because you're not at that audition, or you didn't get that job because you couldn't be here because you had to go work your 9 to 5 to do it. Like, everyone has their own journey, and that is okay. And a lot of people's families help them. So like knowing just where you are and honoring that and getting settled, live your life, find your personality. Basically, don't blend in. Was my very long answer for what I could have said. Just be yourself, which is so dumb. Everyone says be themselves, but
it's very hard to.
Yeah,
I mean, I spent all of high school trying to become exactly like everyone else, and now I've spent ever since trying to figure out who the fuck I am and undo that.
Yes, and when you're 22, I was 22 when I moved here. You just want to be loved and accepted. You want to survive. You want to feel included, and you look up to all these people that like have what you want, and you try and be like them, or you try and be like the people that are your age that are booking and doing the things that you want to do, but you're not them. Yeah. That's the thing. You're not. So just focus on yourself and stay in your lane. I always talk about this picture of Michael Phelps. Now, I'm not a swimmer, okay?
Michael Phelps.
I actually don't even know if he's good or bad right now. I don't know what the internet stance on him is, so if you need to cut this out. But like, there is this kind of viral like meme of Michael Phelps winning some Olympics. He's won so many at this point. But he was swimming to the finish line. Michael Phelps, shout out.
The Olympic swimmer.
He was swimming to the finish line, and it was this photo of him and the guy next to him. And the guy next to him is looking at him. And Michael Phelps is looking at the finish line straight ahead. And that image is so powerful to me, because if you are too busy looking at everyone else to see what they're doing or how you should be or how you should look or what you should wear or be influenced by, like, you're not looking. You're not staying in your lane, and you're not trailblazing, and you're not going your own direction.
Love that.
So I guess be Michael Phelps swimming.
Be Michael Phelps. Get that Olympic gold medal, queen. I love that. Yeah.
Now, pre-pandemic.
Yeah, I gotta know this.
A world. The Wild West. Well, now you could say today's the Wild West too.
I know.
I mean, okay. Before the pandemic, musical theater life out here was wild. I mean, end of January, February through April is audition season. Okay. And still is, I guess. Was then. That was the season. And you just knew that there would be like 10 to 20 auditions a week. You would find them on Backstage, Playbill, Actors Access. Everything was in person. And if you're non-union, what you would do was go to the audition studios and sign up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to get on a list, go home, or like wait in line all morning outside in the cold because the buildings aren't open for you. And then at 10 o'clock when they open, everyone goes up. You know, if they honor this like piece of paper that says what order you got there, that would be your order of the audition. And you would just grind it out. It was, when people say like the audition grind, that was the grind. When you were up at 4 a.m. Monday through Friday, auditioning until like 2 or 3, and then going to work. I would normally audition from like 4 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Oh my God.
And then I'd go work from like 3 p.m. to 10 or 11.
Wow.
At night. And that was what it was. It was all in person. It was all cattle calls, 300 plus people at auditions. Like, it was an experience. Yeah. It was not fun. I mean, I'm a person that loves auditioning. So the act of doing it and being in the room and learning, and I've always loved that. But waiting around, no one wants to wait around in the cold for 6 hours outside in winter in New York City. Like, that was not fun. So I don't miss it, but I don't love self-tapes now.
No. Yeah,
there's a lot of
complicated like process.
Time on your side. Learning choreography from those videos sucks, but also like then you have to pay for a space. Like it now costs even more just to fucking audition.
Yeah, I stopped auditioning. And I told my agents, I told everyone, I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And at the time I had the money to spend on it, But it was a principle thing. Like, fuck you. I'm not spending $80 to rent a room to audition this thing that you're not even breaking down. You're not even teaching me the combination. You have your associate dancing it, and they're not even giving counts. And you want me to spend money for you not even to watch my stupid video on YouTube with the whole, we watch it, YouTube algorithm. Algorithms don't lie, baby. I can see the views. I know this shit.
It would piss me off when they would request an additional video. You do the additional video and then they never watch it. And it's like, why'd I just go and now spend 3 hours of my life and money using my fucking nice makeup and doing my hair and giving my hair more damage
It's ridiculous.
for you to not even fucking watch it?
Ridiculous. I just started asking my agents. I've been saying, will they take my dance reel?
Yeah.
Whenever I get auditions now that ask me to film, I say, will they take my dance reel?
Yeah.
What is the point of making a dance reel? The highlight, you can see exactly what I can do on this dance reel and make a judgment from there. And then if you want to call me back, sure, I'd invest a little. Don't want to, but maybe if I'm, in callbacks to get in, I'll do that. And funny enough, they said yes. Like, so start asking if people will take your dance reel, people.
That's a really good tip.
Ask for what you want. Because you will never
it
will always be a no unless you ask. So.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I remember being at school, and I may have said this on the podcast before, that I had a friend at the time who was like doing the New York grind. She was out of school and was auditioning, and she would post about it on her Instagram stories, and she was getting up like at the crack ass of morning and going to these auditions. And I remember it was pretty early on in our education at Elon. It was like our freshman year. And I sat there in my dorm and I was like, do I want this enough to do that? And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like to get up that early and like do that and go through that. And it's interesting because now we don't know that world. Once I graduated from college, I barely auditioned. Like I did a gig over the summer at this theater called Wagon Wheel. And then I came back and I tried it, but it just wasn't, I don't know, it just wasn't clicking. And also I felt like I did have an opportunity to get in the room once, and I did. And all those skills that I had gained of like being in the room at college were lost because I hadn't used them in like 2 years. I was like, I forget how to be like literally in a room. The audition situation is very interesting now in the theater world.
Yeah. And I mean, there's talks of equity coming back, and there are a few like in-person things that are happening now and starting to go back. But, I don't feel like doing it right now. And that is okay.
Yes.
I mean, and when I do feel like it, I'll go.
I took like a full year off from auditioning because I started hating theater. I mean, I think especially we finished our degree our last year and a half in the pandemic. And so we essentially did all the parts of theater that suck without any of the parts that are any modicum of enjoyability. And so by the end, I just kind of hated it. And I auditioned for like 8 months and I was hating it. And I took like a full year off, and I almost saw no shows this year until December, right before I went home. I saw a bunch, and it's because I like finally missed theater enough that like I could enjoy it and I could see a show without like being angry and really fucking bitter about it. Because I think I was just had so much anger about like how everything ended, and just like, I needed, if I hadn't stopped, like I could have kept going. But like, even if I had booked something, I think I would have just been so angry and bitter still. Like I now love theater again and I miss it. And I'm like starting to enjoy like even just like dancing or singing in my fucking apartment in a way that like I realized I enjoyed when I was in classes and everything, but I hadn't sung or danced just for the joy of it in a really fucking long time.
Yeah, that's so smart, because I always tell people jobs don't make you happy.
No, at the end of the day, it's still a job.
So if you're banking on booking something to fulfill your self-worth or your joy, you're not going to find it. So it's better to take a break and figure that shit out. The hard life shit, the who you are, the everything that you want to do or what your values are. It's better to do that when you're not in a job. You want to try and figure that shit out while you're on the job.
Oh my God.
While you're doing
impossible.
a show, while you're on TV. Like, it doesn't that you can't do that. So I am so big on taking breaks now and honoring that. And that's what they need to teach you in school is longevity. Mm-hmm. You know, your career is a lifetime. You need to know how to approach it like that. And rest comes into that. 100%. What A-list celebrity is working big shows every single year? Like, you tell me, you know?
I feel like only people in the beginning of their career, and then so often they tell stories of like, yeah, I took every single fucking job I could get, and then I had to take like 4 years off because I couldn't do it anymore. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the burnout hit me in college. Like I left for a semester. I went to treatment because it hit real hard. Mm-hmm. And ever since that moment, I was like, I can't, you know, the whole, like, the show always must go on shit. I was like, like, it can't. Like, obviously it can't.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, I think all performers put this insane amount of pressure to live up to all of these crazy standards that we're taught from a very early age in this industry, whether, like, any performance industry, like, I feel. So it's wild. Mm-hmm. It's wild. But it's so interesting to hear about how New York was before the pandemic.
Yeah, just imagine a bunch of actors, 4 a.m.,
You're like
sitting outside, waiting for an audition studio to open. My favorite place to audition was Sunlight Studios.
Never been there.
Sunlight. I think it's Sunlight. Someone, OGs, if you're watching, you correct me in the comments. But I loved it there because they had a lower level lobby. And if you got there before 5:30 a.m., you could sit in the lobby while everyone else had to sit outside. You could sit there until 9 a.m. I have photos. So many photos. You could sit in there in the warmth to wait for your audition instead of on the streets. That was my favorite place to audition because the other studios, you had to wait on the streets. So
that is
I still remember hearing about that hairspray cattle call. Like, I still remember people posting, like, I survived the 2019, 2020, maybe right before the pandemic hairspray cattle call.
Yeah, I didn't have to go to that. I was in finals for that, and then I decided, I was like, I'm not touring in a pandemic. But I remember I was such an asshole. But I got invited to the callbacks, and I didn't have to do the cattle call, and I was like, I've made it in my career. I literally thought that moment, I was like, I've made it, bitches. Like, this is it. I didn't have to do the cattle call. And then, the next day I'm at a cattle call. So, ego, don't let that baby get too far. No, that was wild. That one and the SpongeBob national tour was one of the biggest auditions because when SpongeBob happened, people who weren't even actors just came into the city because they like SpongeBob. Out of all the shows, I'm like, Sponge fucking Bob SquarePants is what you came in from Jersey to come audition for? And I cut the line on that. And I didn't mean to, but I just did. And it was worth it. And they had you sing 8 bars.
I remember
8 bars.
That is something I never will understand. 8 bars.
You can't do any story.
What are you going to do in 8 bars?
Nothing. Just fine. If you have us do 8 bars, give us a couple bell tones or something you want us to hit. Don't make us sing from our book.
I know.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Wild West.
I remember my dad and I, not as much anymore because I live here and et cetera in life, but we'd always watch the Tony Awards together since I was in high school. And we started doing these printout sheets where you could place guesses. And I remember the year of SpongeBob. I don't know why, but I think he usually will read into the New York Times reviews to basically try and get insight of who's going to win, which I call fucking cheating. But I think that year he just forgot. And so he picked SpongeBob for everything. And so I just kept my mouth shut and I was like, SpongeBob's not winning the Tony for the best fucking musical or fucking whatever. And I remember being so proud when it was like, you fucker, you didn't read the thing. And you, for some reason, SpongeBob was the only name you recognized. So you're like, it's gotta be SpongeBob.
Not SpongeBob. And then also in the pandemic, you talked a bit about this earlier, is that you started your business. And I think I'm curious about 2 to 3 tips that you could give to anybody listening that may want to start a business.
Ooh, yeah. It is a commitment and a journey. And you cannot wait for it to be perfect before you do it, or you will never do it. And when I started my business, I had no idea what I was doing. I remember going on Instagram. This was early pandemic.
Yeah.
When everyone, excuse me, when everyone was doing their free like Instagram live workout classes. And I just thought it was insane because everyone that was giving all these free Instagram classes were people like me who were out of work. And like all fitness instructors, I worked in fitness before, and everyone was giving all this free stuff. And I was like, that's so sweet. But all of your clients still have their 9 to 5s. They're just working from home. So now you're just working for free.
Yeah.
And I went on my Instagram and I told my followers and my clients that followed me, I was like, hey, I'll teach classes, but I'm not doing it for free.
Yeah.
It's going to be $15 a person, and you're going to Venmo me if you want to take. And I had 56 people sign up for my first class.
That's awesome.
And pay for it. And I was like, oh, this is something. And as soon as money got involved, I was like, I took all that and I went and made an LLC. And I just kept reinvesting the money into the business. But saying that, my tip is you just have to, number one, go for it and try it and know that what it looks like on day 1 is not what it's going to look like on year 3.
Yeah.
Like how I started my business in March of 2020, it's completely different now. And in another 5 years, it'll probably be even more different. So you have to be okay with evolving. And I always say just like jumping off the cliff and knowing that you'll land. You won't know where you'll land, but you have to be able to pivot every month, every week, every idea, and treat it less emotionally and more strategically like a business. And I feel like as artists, that's really hard. If you're an artist listening who is starting a business. So tip number 1 is you're going to be constantly pivoting, and you have to be okay with that. I think my second one would be learn how to market yourself and market your product, get over your imposter syndrome, and tell people about what you do.
Yeah.
People will not buy your business, buy your product, take your classes unless you tell them what you do. And that's the hardest thing, right? I mean, you have a podcast.
Oh my God.
How many times are you posting about your podcast today?
So many.
So many,
Yeah.
right? There are some people that have podcasts or businesses, or there was a point of time when my sales were low in my business, and I was like, why isn't anyone signing up for my classes? Bitch, I hadn't posted about it in a month. Who's going to know? Who's going to know what you do if you don't tell them? And it's not icky or cringy or anything. It's a service.
Yeah.
So sell it and treat it like that, and just keep shouting it from the rooftops, because if you're not proud of what you do and willing to share that with anyone, why would anyone trust you and buy from you? So tip number 2, you have to market and you have to tell people about what you do. And then the third one is just, what would I say? So left me. I have it. In the beginning, do as much as you can on your own, all yourself. As a business owner, you have to be able to know exactly how your business runs, how everything runs, how you do your programming, how, if you make content, how you make it, how you edit it. I fully believe you have to know the ins and out of your business like the back of your hand. And do not waste money on branding or hiring people. Don't do that until it's impossible, I guess, is what I'm saying, to operate it on your own. And even then, you can probably still operate it on your own and readjust your priorities, because you'll just be burning money. So do as much as you can on your own for however long you can. I made the mistake where I hired 8 people right away in the beginning as independent contractors to teach for me. And at the time, I was able to pay them and do it, But I looked at the end of the year and I was paying those people more than I was paying myself. And I spent so much money on getting branded and a website. And now how my business is looks nothing like that. So I wasted $1,500. Lovely people I worked with. This is nothing on them. It was so just don't spend the money.
Yeah.
Do it yourself.
That's so interesting because like when people will ask us about the podcast and like different elements of it, we don't have the money to pay people to do it. Like
we had someone asked today, they were like, "Oh, who does your graphics?" And we were like, we did have our like logo done at the beginning by someone because we wanted that to be something that we really liked. But we found someone not super expensive.
No.
Someone was asking about all of our other graphics and we were like, Canva.
Yeah.
Canva. Get a Canva Pro account. It is actually so easy. I was telling my boss about it the other day because I made a presentation with it. He was like, where is this from? I was like, Canva.
Yes.
I love some Canva.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that last piece of advice because I think, not like sometimes like in what like we do with podcasting, I'm like, do we need this? Like, do we need that? Like, because, you see all these people out there and they got like the glitz and the glam and this and that. And I'm like, I think if we can figure out how to do it ourselves, like hopefully one day down the road, if we get somewhere, bigger, it's like we'll know exactly all the things that we have on our bucket.
Plus, I like having it under our control. I'm going to be honest. I was like, I think it would now be hard for me to give up control over certain things because I like that, like, it comes out exactly how we want it.
Yeah, fully own your shit.
Yeah.
And I had one more. I'll add it really fast because
go for it.
I should have made this number one. Your business, clear the throat, loud and clear. However, your business is not about you. Your business is about the people you serve.
Yes.
And as soon as it becomes self-serving, you're done. So always pivot for your clients or your listeners, your viewers, whatever that is, whatever your business is. It is not for you. If you want something to be for you, write in your journal.
Yeah.
But if you're creating a product or a service for people, it has to be for those people and you have to listen to their feedback. You have to adjust for them. You have to give to them or it will fail. So that's my last little bit. It's not about you.
Yeah, I love that piece of advice because I feel like that's something that I try and think about like when we're doing stuff is like, how can it be valuable to the person listening to this? Like when I listen to a podcast, why do I continue to listen? That's something that I've been thinking a lot as a content creator. If I'm watching you, listening to you, whatever it is, why? What about what you're doing is like serving me? So I love that.
Absolutely.
And so, also during the pandemic, and you mentioned this earlier as well, you decided to take a break from the NYC life and get away and kind of, you described it on your TikTok like as sort of like a kind of healing journey for you. How was that break? What do you feel like you've gotten out of it?
Oh, the break was so necessary.
Yeah.
Reflecting on it, you can't run away from your problems. The old saying.
Yeah.
So, and I actually know when I was traveling across the country, like I didn't know that. I thought leaving New York, all of my problems would be solved and that my mental health would be better and I would not be depressed and everything would be good. Like I would have all the answers. And what it ended up being was just me sitting there half the time taking edibles, going into my own world and just being like, what am I doing? I was just freaking out in different locations. So I'll be real. My time away was great. I got to spend time with family, be in the sun. It was good. But coming back, I was still almost where I was when I left. And when I came back, that is when I decided I really needed to reevaluate my relationship with myself, with my friends, with my partner, with everything, how I wanted to live, how I wanted my career to be, how I was auditioning, everything. And I had to face that head on. And that's when I started healing and getting out of this depressive like episode I was. That's when I stopped caring how I was being perceived. That's when I found a new relationship with dancing and performing, but traveling away was good and bad.
Yeah.
But it is not until you sit with yourself and stare at yourself in the mirror and journal it out, whatever that is for you. I'm big on journaling, and really just face your own demons. And I am privileged to have had that time to be able to do that. And I work very hard to be able to have that time in that space. But mental health is a journey.
Oh, yeah.
So,
oh, yeah.
If anyone listening is having a rough time with it right now, know that running away won't help you. But really facing what is bothering you, and maybe that's therapy. I tried therapy, didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So there are many means, I think, in which you can connect with yourself.
Yeah.
Take that time and forget about auditioning. Forget about your career. Worry about you.
Yeah.
And then start adding in the layers. So traveling didn't do that for me, but being back in New York did.
That's so interesting because it's so funny. A couple of weeks ago, I was just like freaking out about life. I was like, maybe I need to like move somewhere else, like go somewhere else. But hearing your story and like you saying that, it makes so much sense that like it doesn't matter where you go. Like these things are going to be with you no matter what. And even though it's fucking hard to just like face things head on, like go for it.
Yes.
I feel like that's the phase of my life I'm in right now.
Yes.
Yes. It's scary.
It can get scary, but it is worth
Yeah.
that journey.
Oh, I feel that 100%. And like in your time away, I mean, I feel like in general on your TikTok, you know, you talk about body image and, you know, healing the relationship or building a better relationship with yourself. Can you just talk about like the ways that you've done that or the way or what your journey is in that right now?
Yeah, I've gone through so many waves of this.
Yeah.
And I've been in this for a while.
Yeah.
And, you know, what used to be called body positivity is now body neutral, is now positive body image, is now this, that, and the other. Like I said earlier, I'm kind of at this place where I'm like, I don't want to fucking talk about my body anymore.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I do that all the time.
I'm like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. End of sentence.
No, there you go. Period at the end of the sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, this wasn't, you didn't forget. This was the intent.
I think that's really it.
Yeah.
And I was for a long time, because on social media, I became this like figure for people, this inspiration of what a non-traditional dancer could look like. And I felt this pressure of needing to educate people or like, or make that my content or my personality, because that's all people would comment on and that's what they would see. And then I got in this weird state with my art where I was like, am I really good, or am I just good for like being a little curvier than the average dancer? Or, you know, and then I got mad because I was like, why don't skinny people have to talk about their bodies? Like, why do I have to do this? Why can't you tell me I'm just really fucking good at what I do? End of sentence.
Yeah.
So I just, that I say that because that's why I'm at this place now where healing, I think part of my healing with it was a little like, do I need to say I'm healing because I'm this role model for people, or am I okay actually with just like how I am at different months at different times? I don't know. So I really have taken a step back on talking about it. I will add it in here and there because, you know, people need to be reminded that they're beautiful and they're good and, as they are. But like, it gets so exhausting talking about your body and wanting people to talk about your body all the time that I got burnt out on it.
I get it.
And if you're going through a process of healing and wanting to heal your relationship with yourself, honestly, I'd say do it privately. I'm literally doing that right now. And it has been the best thing because it's all for me and I'm not sharing it with the world.
Yeah.
And if I feel good about myself and what I'm doing and how I'm healing myself, then anything anyone says doesn't faze me, doesn't hurt, doesn't matter. So that's my note on a healing journey with yourself.
I think one of the best, I forget if it was from a teacher or where I fucking heard this, but is you don't owe the world your wounds, especially. Like if you want to share and be open, like do it once it's a scar and it's healed. And like if it's still a really touchy scar, then don't. But like you don't owe the world your wounds. And I think that's really hard, especially with like the very parasocial relationships that are developed.
Yeah.
Like when like social media couples break up, I think people really want to know. And it's like,
oh no,
you don't owe people like to like open up your guts and show them everything that's inside and all that's broken. Like
no,
wait and do it when like that skin is healed.
And I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what I was doing. I mean, over the pandemic, I gained almost 80 pounds.
Yeah.
And I don't need to go into my health problems, but like while I was going through that, I was trying to help other people.
Yeah. You gotta put on your oxygen mask first.
Like what? You know? And that messed me up for a while. And then you get the criticism from people being like, well, you're not big enough. You're not small enough. You're not this. You're not that. You should say this. Or why aren't you talking about this person? Or this person should have a platform instead of you. And I'm like, I didn't choose who follows me. But
right.
So I just stopped.
Yeah.
And it's good.
That's
it's
good.
It feels a lot better now. I went through this whole phase where I was like, oh my God, if I gain weight, my followers are going to hate me. If I lose weight, my followers are going to hate me. But then I was just thinking about other people and I never focused on myself.
Yeah.
So now I could care less.
Period.
I'm like, okay, love or hate me. I don't care. And that's what healing is.
Truly.
When you stop caring about other people.
Truly.
Mm-hmm.
One day. Fingers are crossed.
And it will never be perfect.
I don't think, I get it. I feel like as I get older, I get a lot better at it. And it's just like getting there and continuing that work with like myself and everything to get to that point where I'm like, I'm okay with that. Even like take the break from theater. It's like taking this year, and I mean, I'm still taking it off. I'm like, I've gotten further away from caring like what the fuck people like think about me, which is great. Mm-hmm. And getting into a little bit of like 20s chat.
Yeah.
So, you are in your later 20s. No, go for it. Oh, please go for it.
Hydrate or die.
Literally. How do you feel you've evolved from like your early 20s to your later 20s?
I think the best way to describe it, well, there's a couple components. I think as women, there is so much attached to aging, especially in the entertainment industry. I remember growing up, it was like, if you're 30, you're done. Like, old hag.
Yeah.
You want a career? You're the mother at 30. No. So there was always that fear. And when I was in my younger 20s, I was just trying to fit in, I think, because I thought that if I didn't succeed really early, I would be an old hag who would never work at 30. And I feel like the big difference between younger 20s, I didn't have a personality. My personality was trying other people's personalities and trying other people's styles and seeking. It feels like you're in water and you're swimming towards different life vests.
Yeah.
And like this life vest, that doesn't fit. Let me swim over here. I'm in the swimming thing today.
We're all swimming. Don't
we're all just humans doing human swimming. And like, you're just trying to find the right floating device.
Yeah.
And that is how your early 20s feel, is you're just trying to keep your head above water. And your later 20s, it's great. It's great. you'll have a crisis. Maybe, hopefully you won't. I did. And my crisis happened like 26, 27.
Yeah.
In that transitional phase. I feel like I'm just getting out of it now. And then you hit this beautiful point where, like I said earlier, you stop caring about what other people think. And you design your own life jacket and you keep yourself afloat.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Early 20s, you care so much about people pleasing, being the right look, saying the right thing, making the right people happy. And then late 20s, it's like you start to know your own value and you start to rewire your brain to be like, oh, what does Megan add to the conversation?
Yeah.
Not what does Megan have to be to add to a conversation. So it becomes more of a very self-aware, very confident feeling that you don't have to impress anyone. And it's great. You'll love it.
Yeah. I love that. It sounds great already.
Yeah. It is just, you are who you are and you give less fucks.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure that out. I always ask my grandma. I'm like, Grandma, how did you survive your 20s? And she was like, 20s, girl? Like, what are you talking about? That didn't matter. And, you know, so just being yourself is the difference. Is the difference.
Yeah.
Trying to fit in is what you try to do until you realize that doesn't work. And then you stop trying.
Was there a moment that you felt like you realized that fitting in wasn't working for you?
Well, I think when I was doing diets every day, like I was just always trying to be like every other dancer. That was such a big part of my life where I was like, okay, it's not working being skinny. So, the thing I thought was going to get me on Broadway or was going to excel my career, I got there.
Yeah.
And I still didn't get what I wanted. And then, you know, the moment was literally when I started my social media and just started sharing the actual Megan, my opinions, how I feel about certain things, and evolving with that and just creating my own stuff gave me the power to feel like I knew who I was and have my voice and feel very secure in myself. So that was the point. Just being chronically online, I guess. Putting yourself out there was my turning point. Yeah.
So our last question for you, we ask this to everybody we interview. Is there a moment, or can you tell us a moment you felt clueless recently?
It can be big, it can be small. The one I always bring up is mine was, I don't know how often you're supposed to empty your vacuum cleaner, and I'm concerned that I haven't done it enough.
Yes. Oh, wait, you guys, I had it.
It was at the top of the frame.
It was there. I prepared one for when we were supposed to meet up the first time, and then I forgot about it.
You know, my car accident.
And
oh my God.
I had a new one.
God, that was a long time ago.
I know, a couple months ago.
Wait.
Couple
No,
months?
not couple, 1 month ago.
There was... What was it?
Trying to think of what was happening at that time to give you.
I know. No, but there was something recently.
Oh.
Shoot. Okay.
It's okay. Take your time.
Well, I felt clueless with my phone. Okay.
Oh, go.
So, little backstory. One of my really good friends, James, and I, who's also a content creator.
Yes.
We've been wanting to like step up our game recently. And I told them, I was like, I want to take more Instagram pictures. Like, I want to just try. I just want to try.
Yeah.
Like, I live in New York City. I'm young and hot. Like, let's get some photos.
Period.
And I watched YouTube videos on how to take good like influencer photos or like I felt so clueless on how to pose for a iPhone camera, which is very different from like dance modeling.
Yeah.
And I recently learned on your iPhone, if you take a selfie, how you can zoom Like you can pinch the screen in selfie mode. You can pinch the screen so it zooms out a little more. So it's not so close to you.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And I just, I will say that was when I felt clueless because I'm like, oh, I'm this content creator and then I don't even know how to take a selfie correctly on a phone. So that will be my answer. I feel clueless every day, but
I love that.
This was yesterday.
I love
this
that.
was yesterday. So.
Do you know Lens Buddy? The app Lens Buddy?
No.
Very helpful.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Basically, it's something we use to take all of our photos. And it's this app. And basically, it will take like 25, 50, or 100 pictures at a time. And it just goes click, 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 click. And you just stand there and you move. And it's like a dance.
my method that my best friend in high school, Annie Palmer, taught me this. So I call it the Annie Palmer method. Definitely wasn't invented by her, though. If you take 1,000 photos, at least one of them's come out good. So you press this. We set it to 100. You press it. And then you just like make those little stupid micro adjustments. My family hates me when we're taking photos because everyone will just stand exactly the same. And I'm like,
work in the room.
They hate you until they catch a good photo of themselves.
Like, why do you look better in the photos? And I'm like, because I'm trying shit. Because
I watched the YouTube video, Mom and Dad, okay? This influencer taught me. So.
I love that. I love that.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us today. This was such a great conversation. I'm feel like so inspired right now.
Thank you
Truly.
for having me.
Yeah,
this is great. And
amazing.
I'm hoping people can take little tidbits and
1,000%.
just be you. I feel like your listeners are probably early 20s. Like stop trying to fit in and fit trends and just find your own personality.
Yeah.
Make your own life vest. Swim, baby. Stay in your lane. Michael Phelps it out.
Swimming.
Everyone,
just
you
keep
have to watch
swimming,
the
everyone.
YouTube version to see the hand gestures she's doing for swimming because that's what's
I'll make a
really making
compilation
it.
and just we're all just swimming.
We're all just swimming. We're all just swimming.
Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.